Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our very first inaugural launch of our channel. I am Dan with J Vegas Nerds, and this is the launch of our small veteran-owned business slash YouTube channel. We do a little bit of stuff with cosplay. We do a little bit of stuff with making geekier, nerdy merchandise as far as like decals and one-off shirts and drink containers and so on and so forth. But also for me as the host, I'm going to use this as an outlet to sort of just completely and totally geek out. And then when the time comes, I'll try to bring in some other stuff like, where the hell's my bucket at? I apologize. I'm in my workshop, and my workshop is a bit of a mess. We just got back from GalaxyCon Raleigh, North Carolina 2023, which I will be talking about here shortly. That being said, I am totally losing my train of thought. Welcome to being a nerd and a geek, right? A little bit about our background. My business partner, who I don't have her permission to call her out yet, is also a disabled veteran of the United States Marine Corps, living here in coastal Carolina outside of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I myself am a 20-year retired Marine Corps veteran. During my time in, I did 9 deployments, the last 5 of which being combat deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. And part of why I'm getting into this sort of area of my life is I have another YouTube channel that is dedicated to just about anything, but primarily socio-political stuff. And while I think it's important to have conversations with people, I wanted to have an alternative space that was separate to itself, where I could talk strictly about the more nerdier and geekier stuff. So that is what this channel is about. I gave that brief little introduction. I'll try to come up with some sort of introduction like I have for my other channel. But the reason I'm giving you that little preamble, that little introduction, is to sort of quantify that even though I'm a nerd and I'm a geek and I'm into things like sci-fi and fantasy and whatnot, and I love talking about that, I'm also a husband and a father. I'm also a veteran, and I'm a firm believer that our experiences in life, the things that we experience at no control of our own, the things that we experience as a sum total of our decisions, the sum total of our experiences forge who we are, how we see and view the world, how we receive information, interpret and process it. So I always want to put that out there to make sure that you understand that sometimes where I'm coming from, I want you to have a foundation of who I am, so when I present things, you sort of understand my background on the subject. But for right now, I just want to sort of gush all over GalaxyCon 2023. So GalaxyCon is a brand. They rebranded, I think in 2019 is when they rebranded. I think they used to be SuperCon. We had a tremendous amount of guests. You can go to their website. In fact, I will include the website in the description. But what I want to talk about is some of my personal experiences. And I will also include the photos at the end of this video. So first up, we went for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, my wife and I met most of the same people, but I also had some people I wanted to meet, as I'm sure you can imagine. Being a 47-year-old heterosexual male, there were some people I wanted to meet, starting with the lovely, the gorgeous, the beautiful, the so sweet Rachel Lee Cook. And hopefully there's not a glare on there. Sorry, Rachel. All right. Oh, my God. Just sorry, I don't care what your sexual preference is, but yes, for me, it was hard not to find her attractive. And I also spoke to her, that's my fans blowing that all around. I also spoke to her about how, I became familiar with her and others by, watching a lot of videos on deployment. When we would go on deployments to Okinawa and whatnot, and we'd be stuck on the island, sometimes there wasn't a whole lot to do other than go to the gym, drink, and watch movies. Well, I drank a little, not a lot. I went to the gym quite a bit, but there's still plenty of time in between. So I would go to the video store and rent movies, just any movie available. And you know, as most actors and actresses, when they're starting out, they're in lesser popular movies. I don't want to call them less quality, just lesser popular. And she thought that was a bit fascinating. We also got to meet Steve Burns, the original Steve from Blue's Clues. Both of my current kids watched Blue's Clues, and my one son that unfortunately lost his battle with illness used to love watching Blue's Clues. On my other channel, I talk about my son and whatnot, but that's not for this channel here. Then I also got to meet Taryn Manning. Again, the dude in me was just like, hi, pretty. She was super nice. Now here's the thing real quick, so I can avoid like little awkward pauses. I like to practice what I call my own personal brand of courtesy. If I get there and nobody's there, I'll talk. I'll have stuff prepared in my head to say and to talk about relatively neutral status. You know, so that I do my best not to come across as weird, even though I think being a nerd and a geek, you know, weird is kind of par for the course. So if I don't have much to elaborate on, it's because when I was in Taryn Manning's line, when I did get to see her, when it was time to take, basically, all of a sudden, like, I'm a magnet. I call myself a magnet. As soon as it was my turn to meet her, all of a sudden, like, 15 people showed up out of nowhere. And, you know, that's great for her and her business, but, you know, I was like, man, I can't really get to talk to her at all. So I had to shit and get. But we were very fortunate. My wife and I got to meet Todd Stashwick. Todd has recently found some success on a show that, in accordance with the SAG-AFTRA strike, I won't go ahead and give details or whatnot, but Todd's also been a bit of a character actor where he comes in as a guest actor on a lot of things, and he gives what I think is a lot of gravitas to certain characters, but then he's out. And I've always thought, like, man, you know, this guy has some chops. You know, why can't he have his own thing? I know he was on the show 12 Monkeys that I haven't gotten a chance to watch, and I haven't seen the new show he's on yet, but I always kind of felt Todd could have a greater role in something. Then on Friday, the wife and I also got to meet Dave Foley. Now, I was first introduced to Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall, and then after Kids in the Hall, he would go on to star in numerous other projects. Most recently, my wife and I are rewatching Justified in order to kind of catch up for the City of Primeval, which I think has already aired like 2 episodes by now. But my wife couldn't remember it because we watched Justified during COVID, and Dave Foley was in Justified. Dave was super nice to talk to, just super nice. And then, last but not least, before Friday was over, we bit the bullet. The previous years, we've been going to GalaxyCon since 2019. They skipped 2020 for the pandemic, but we've been going to GalaxyCon since 2019, and that makes 4 out of the 6 years that it's been around. Some of the guests are a bit pricier. It just is what it is. One of those being the one and only William Shatner. All right, and Mr. Shatner doesn't do table photos. He does the professional photos. So that's my wife, my son, and I. There you go. And Mr. Shatner can be a bit pricey, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, he's 92, and I don't wish any bad luck. I don't wish anything of that nature, but I hate to say it, you just don't know how much longer Mr. Shatner's going to be around with us. I mean, in spite of all of his efforts and in spite of how spry he is, you just don't know. The unfortunate truth is we don't die of old age. We die because, you know, something inside just gets old and wears down and doesn't work anymore. And God, I really hate having this mortality conversation, but the point being is, before it was too late and we found ourselves saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, we bit the bullet and we went and met Mr. Shatner. The one thing I will tell you about that is Mr. Shatner is very, very efficient. He's very grateful. He's very humble, but he's very, very efficient. And he's humble enough to at least understand that he's a popular draw, and as a result of which, he tries to give everybody the opportunity. And the only way to do that is you don't get time to interact with him very much at his table. It's kind of a shit and get. But still, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity we couldn't pass up. And then Saturday rolled around, and first things first, we got to meet Colin O'Donoghue. I really apologize for that glare. He is a handsome man. We mainly met him for my wife, and he was very, very accommodating. I even got the opportunity to tell him that he's on my wife's list, and he goes, "Really? The list?" And I was like, "Yeah, the list." And he goes, "That list?" And I was like, "Yes, that list." And he's like, "That list?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know the list." And he goes, "Really?" It was great. Oh my God, just it's experiences like that that really make it worth the price of admission and really make it worth paying for their time. And I'll be honest, I'm going to talk about it in my next video, which will be video number 2 for this channel, where I talk about all the good and the bad about GalaxyCon. But I think a lot of what we pay for is management, the agents, etc. So, all right, moving on. After Colin, we got to meet Joel McHale. Again, so worth the price of admission. Joel McHale was hilarious. We met him twice. We also met him on Sunday before we all left, and he spams your camera. He just grabs your phone and it just goes nuts. He is hilarious. We went to his panel. Hilarious. Just, oh my God, hilarious. Then we got to meet Vincent D'Onofrio. The Vincent D'Onofrio. Kingpin. Private Pile. Such a nice man. For as big as he is, for as intimidating as he looks, just such a nice man. I was kind of gobsmacked by how, "Hi sir, how you? Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for coming." I'm like, why are you thanking me? I'm trying to thank you for being here. Like, you've got all this other stuff you could be doing. You could be making different content outside the SAG-AFTRA, but you're here in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the end of July, where it is not just hot, ambiently hot, but then we have humidity to boot that puts the heat index well over 100, and you still chose to be here. Yeah, just, oh, so gracious. Then we got to meet Karen Gillen. Hope you can see that. She is a delight. Both of her parents were there, and we got to talk to her mom, her dad, and we got to talk to her. Now, she didn't do table selfies, which is fine, but we still got a chance to talk to her, and she was just god-awfully pleasant. Growing up, being that I'm Generation X, growing up, you used to hear a lot of horror stories about celebrities and whatnot because they were all full of themselves. I don't know if we're going to come back to that eventually, like if everything goes full circle, but for right now, a lot of these celebrities were just such a delight. And I think, I gotta be honest, while my wife and I are still nerds and we're still geeks, I think on a scale, on a spectrum of awkwardness, we may be on the lower end where we're not as awkward as others can be. And we also try to rehearse, we try to temper our excitement and everything so that when we're there, we're not unpleasant. We're not difficult for these celebrities to deal with, so that it's not equally challenging for them when we're like, remember that time you stole your boobies? You know, we're just trying to be as accommodating as they are. And I feel like because we put out the effort, we get effort in return. So, and it, I mean, just, yeah, right there. Just, oh, man. And then last but not least, we went to his panel, and I want to comment on that on my other channel, the socio-political channel, but we got to go to Stephen Amell's panel. I got to ask him a question, and I didn't mean to, I can't make this up. I did not mean to do it, but I had him laughing hysterically, just accidentally. I didn't mean to, and it was kind of shocking. Like, oh crap, that was funny. He really seemed to enjoy that. Basically, Stephen, I'll take a moment to do it now because I can still keep this within 20 minutes. Stephen took the time to offer up his opinion on what he thought. He's like, you know, sometimes, basically, I'm paraphrasing this because it goes back to my time in the service. Sometimes you have to support things you disagree with for the greater good, for, you know, the greater, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Because he's part of SAG-AFTRA, and SAG-AFTRA as a whole decided to strike with the Writers Guild. He supports the union. He may not support their tactics. He may not like striking as a concept, but, you know, sometimes you have to do what you got to do. So I told him, I was like, you know, in my former line of work, we often had to do the same thing. You know, there may be an opportunity to make your feelings known. Oftentimes it had little to no impact on anything. And I told him, you know, we used to call it putting frosting on a dog turd and calling it a cupcake. And he thought that was hilarious. But the point being is, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And then I got a chance to ask him a question. He gave me a very sincere answer, and I thought the panel was great. I thought we all enjoyed the panel, and then we got to meet him. And he also personalized the photo. I asked him if it was possible. He said, F yeah, and he personalized the photo, and we got to take selfies with him. Such an awesome experience. But wait, there's more. I'm not done. Sunday. We got to meet Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd, like Mr. William Shatner, was a very popular draw, so he was very efficient. We were able to take selfies, table photos with him, but his team was making it very expeditious in order to try to accommodate everybody, and I didn't have a problem with that. Such a treat. I mean, he was such a big part of my childhood and my wife's childhood growing up, between Back to the Future, Clue, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I mean, you name it. You know, to meet some of these icons from your childhood was just a once in a lifetime. Then we got to meet Richard Dreyfuss. Again, from our childhood, from our teenagers. I apologize for that glare, people. My bad. That was such a treat. I will say, I don't know if something happened, medically speaking. He seemed a bit out of sorts. Not that matters. I don't care. If something happened, like if he had a stroke or something, I don't care. I can't believe that if he was still going through something, he took the time to show up for, I believe, 3 days. He spent 3 days in North Carolina, where it was 90 plus degrees out, plus like 90% humidity. It was god awful, and he took the time to be there. I just, as you can tell, you know, once in a lifetime experience, kind of gobsmacked. Ming-Na Wen. We got to meet Ming-Na Wen. Also, that character from that show. We went to her panel. We met her in person. We got to take photos with her. She is ageless, and she is intimidatingly pretty. She's hot. All right? She's just, I mean, you get there and you're like, it's like that that thing that Tom Segura talks about in his special, where like he's next to a supermodel. It's like, yeah, I can see, I have eyes, I can, yeah. Ming-Na Wen, holy crap! And then I think what adds to her hotness is she was just so bubbly and sweet and just, you know, oh my God! I mean, I don't know what else to say. Just what a phenomenal experience. And then we got to meet Tate Donovan. Sad to say, Tate Donovan is from our generation, and apparently a lot of people are not familiar with who he was. A lot of people may not be familiar that he was actually an actor before he did voice work. But man, was he just a delight to meet, just as kind as could be. And here's what I will say about everybody we got a chance to meet. Whether they were genuine, whether they were faking it, whether they were, you know, putting on a persona, they did so at our benefit, and it made us feel good. It made us feel special. I'm not gonna downplay it. I'm not gonna be one of these negative Nancys or negative Nicks or whatever the hell it is. It made for a wonderful experience. I'm already over 20 minutes, and I apologize. As you can tell, I'm a bit giddy from the whole thing. But wait, I have more. I got to meet Simon Beasley and get an autographed poster of Lobo. Still not done. I got some other stuff here. I've been chasing this guy down at cons for years. He does some pretty awesome stuff. Myth, Monsters, and Cryptids, a field journal. And he's got all this cool artwork. Tragically, I forgot his name, which is not very professional for this video, but I'm sure I can make an addendum. And then I got to meet George Genty. All right, I got him to sign a copy of The Mandalorian with Cobb Vanth, aka Timothy Oliphant, that he was responsible for artwork. I got him to sign this. He did something in it. There's something in here. Yeah, I got him to sign this. Basically, this is a collection of all the comics with the this is like book 1. God, I'm stuttering. And then last but not least, he had a big hand to play in these. Right? You can see his name down at the bottom, George Genty. I think I'm saying that right. How cool is that? Wait, I'm not done. Wait. George Genty. I got to meet him. And then, of course, last but not least, I met a fellow veteran in line in EOD Tech. Gave me a coin. Such a good experience. Now, in my next video that I'm going to make here shortly, I'm going to talk about like all the pros and the cons and some of the experiences, the good, the bad, the indifferent, to kind of, if nothing else, maybe serve as like a helpful tutorial on GalaxyCon this year. So stay tuned for that. Here's the deal. If you want to like, go ahead. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. If you want to hit the notification bell, go ahead. Really doesn't impact us. We're not doing this for monetization. Honestly, what we'd like to do is we'd like to hear from you. We would like to increase conversation. And like my other channel, I make you a promise. If you leave a comment, I will read, react, and respond to your comment. You will be heard. All right? If you want to do a Zoom and get involved that way, we can totally geek out and nerd out with that stuff too. And if you do, I appreciate you. You're awesome. Till next time, keep it nerdy. Real quick, guys, one saved round. Can't believe I forgot it. I also got a chance to meet Frank from Frankly Built at GalaxyCon. I've watched a lot of his YouTube videos, and I not only got a chance to meet him and take a photo with him, but I got a chance to talk to him and let him know that, you know, he's a big part of how I got into 3D printing. His videos, his tutorials, his recommendations played a massive role in helping me get into 3D printing. I don't know why I keep looking at my printers. And he served as a great source of inspiration. So he was a pleasure to talk to. The pictures and videos are coming. Thanks again. Stay nerdy.
Want no harm to come to these humans.
You fool! Why throw away your life so recklessly? With Energon from the Earth and our troops, we can rebuild Cybertron and control the galaxy, and the universe awaits us.
No, I will not endanger the Earth or the humans. Cybertron has shown us what devastation comes from greed and power.
Then you will be forever my enemy, Optimus Prime. No one will stand in my way.
One shall stand, and one shall fall.
Hi, I'm Dan from Jacksonville. Thanks again for coming out.
You're welcome.
Your earlier statement, I too had a job for over 20 years that required me to support and enforce things I didn't necessarily agree with. We used to call it...
What'd you do?
I was a Marine for over 20 years. We used to call it putting frosting on a dog turd and calling it a cupcake.
You gotta eat that shit. You gotta eat it.
It's hard when you run out of frosting.
You're gonna get me in so much trouble.
Oh, and now it's a video. Now it's a video. Oh my goodness, people! Now it's a video.
Best person ever.
Now it's a video.
Right.
Make sure you go to Bojangles before you leave North Carolina. Make sure to go to Bojangles before you go to. Yeah, I don't know, but no, don't.